for joining us, and thank you to Katie for taking the time out of her day. Katie Bethke is with us today. She grew up in Wisconsin, played club soccer in Minnesota, and went on to play professionally. So I will let her introduce herself, and then we'll go through a few questions, and then we'll open it up for questions from you guys. Again, if we'll use the chat function, if you want to just type your questions in there, and we'll go from there. Katie, I'll pass it off to you.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm sorry I was a few minutes late. My computer malfunctioned, so hopefully that is done. So yeah, I am Katie Bethke. I'm from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I played club up Minnesota. Starting in 8th grade, I played on a club called Bangu, which doesn't exist anymore, but it used to kind of be the club of Minnesota. And then I actually played my last 2 years at St. Croix before college. So it's good to kind of be back at the club. And I played ODP 8th grade through and made like the Region 2 team. For college, I played at the University of Minnesota for 4 years. Where I started all 4 years as the captain for 2. In my junior year, I got pulled up to the youth national team for the under 23s and stayed on that until I was too old. I went on and played professional soccer for 5 years. I started in the US in the women's league. After my first season, the league went under, and so there's no more league, so I went abroad and played in Norway, Germany, and Sweden for the rest of my career. So great career, got to coach a lot, came back to Minnesota. So I've coached everything from youth up to professional in Norway and coached with the Gophers for a season as well. So just happy to be here. I have to embarrass one person if she's on, Charlotte. She is a family friend, so I have to say hi to her. So I have a few questions I was given ahead of time, so I decided to do those and then open it up to ones on the chat. So if you put your questions in now, I will answer those in the order that you submit them. So just going with the first few questions here was, how did you become interested in soccer and how did you get started? I think it's like all of you, just your parents threw you in to a bunch of different sports, and soccer was one of them. I started just playing when I was 5 on a boys team because there wasn't a girls league back when I was younger. Growing up, I played every sport you can think of, but in high school, I played varsity I ran cross country, played basketball, and then soccer for all 4 years. And I loved it. I think cross country helped me with my endurance. I think basketball helped me with my agility and 1v1 defending. I know every soccer player is a good basketball defender, but it also helped me not burn out of soccer. And I don't know if there's parents on this call, but I know there's always pressure when they're younger now, should my child specialize in one sport at the age of 8 years old? My opinion is I don't think you should. You might just play soccer as your only sport, take up knitting, take up any other kind of hobby you can think of. I think it's just good to have another outlet. So if soccer goes bad for a day, you have something else you can put positive time and energy into. So whatever that other hobby is, whether it's a sport or something else or an instrument. I was terrible at trumpet, so that was not my outlet. In terms of positions, I played forward most growing up, all the way through college. But by the end of college, I kept coming back from forward to center midfield because I wasn't getting the ball. And so I kept coming farther and farther back, which you're not supposed to do. So my coach just decided to put me at center mid because I wouldn't listen. Because I kind of like to pull the strings in the middle of the field. And then I played mainly center mid. I'm not sure if someone's microphone is on or if it's mine, but I'm hearing a lot of background noise. Thank you. I played center mid most of my pro career. But I mean, I played in club soccer and like semi-pro. I played like outside midfielder, but in a formation of 4-3-3, the outside mid was kind of like either the outside forward I'd play or outside defender. And then I'd just run 80 yards up the field. And then, so I played everything, but I loved, having the ball at my feet. Defensive mid was definitely my sweet spot, I found out in pro, just because that became more of the playmaker in Europe, where you got the ball, you kind of, the quarterback got to decide what to do. But I strongly suggest playing lots of different positions. Like forward was definitely my favorite. And whether I liked it or not, my coaches put me in different positions just to learn. For me, I learned, how that position was played, not only while I was in it, but when I became more of a leader and a captain in college and pro, even though I was set a midfielder, I knew if my forward or my outside mid or my defender was in the right position. And so I knew how to help them on the field or in practice to help them improve because I had played those positions. More importantly, tactically, it made me understand the game better. I knew what the other team in certain positions where they were supposed to go. So I kind of knew where those gaps were going to be because I understood all these other positions on the field. Along with just learning tactically and having a high soccer IQ. If you're not watching soccer on TV, start watching it. Especially nowadays with YouTube. I know there's nothing on right now live, but Bundesliga should be back here this weekend. Prem League should be back in June. But just learn from the best players out there, right? Or even rewatching the World Cup games. I think it's just a great way to start to enjoy the game, and you find a club you like or some players you like and you follow them. I think you just learn so much. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'll do a fun one. I was asked if I have a special routine or superstition before games. I always put my right shoe on before my left shoe for every practice, every game. I can say it now because I'm retired, but I would never tell anyone that while I was still playing. And then let's see. I think I'll open it up for now. The one thing I saw was training schedule and practice. Do I practice every day? For me, I just went out and played every day because I wanted to. I wouldn't call it practice. It was just, instead of watching 3 hours of TV, I mean, I still love my TV, but I would just go outside and I'd either just, dribble across the yard, like only right foot, only left foot, all the different moves I have learned or, look them up. And then just learning how to be good at juggling. I was so bad. So didn't want to practice at practice where they're a good juggler. So I'd do it in my yard until I was good. And then I wanted to do it at practice. So I just like to do, I'd drag my father out there after dinner and he'd do volleys to both my feet, my thighs, my head, chest, everything. I love the technical stuff. So I think if you enjoy it, just the more you're on the ball, that's kind of where you're going to get the best out of your ability is when no one's watching. You go to practice 1 to 3 times a week. What are you doing the rest of the week? Practices are no more than 2 hours. Games are no more than 2 hours. Like that'll make you learn and practice what you learn from trainings, but majority of your time is going to be outside of where your coach is. So I'd stress what you do in those times, but want to go out there, enjoy it. Okay, I'm gonna go to these questions. So what is your training schedule? Okay, that was asked. So I'll say, starting in 8th grade, I had to drive, I didn't drive, my father did, 4 hours round trip to play club soccer and ODP. So I did that from 8th grade to senior year in high school. Unfortunately, Northern Wisconsin doesn't have the best soccer, and I wanted to be seen for college, and I was told to do ODP and the best clubs, and especially the clubs in Minnesota, the showcases you get to go to once you're in high school, where hundreds of college coaches will come see you play. So I would go to Las Vegas, Surf Cup in San Diego, Raleigh, down to Disney World, we did it. But kind of, I needed to get to Minnesota to do that. And that training was, 3 to 5 times a week. We did like the Minnesota acceleration. But again, like only a few hours a day. So I had an unfinished basement. I'd kick against the wall in my basement. So let's see, favorite position, defensive midfield is my favorite position just because I get to tell everyone what to do and I get to hang on to the ball more. What's your favorite soccer team? Oh, okay. Tottenham Hotspurs in the Prem League is my favorite team. And then For Bundesliga, it's Bayern München, even though I played for Bayer Leverkusen. Favorite national team is Germany. Coaches will like this one. I love just how they find their talent and they split them off into regions, and everyone has a chance to make it there. And just they're so technically focused, and you don't have to pay to play if you're the best players. But I think just the national team grooms those players so well, and they're just, I like their style of play. What challenges did you face? Oh goodness, lots of challenges. I think that's the best part about sports is you're going to hit adversity. You're not going to win every single game you play from 5 years old up to pro. It's how you deal with those losses, and you can point the finger at other people, or you can figure out what could I have done better on that field today, whether it's in training or practice, or training or in games. Specific challenges. I remember my sophomore year of college, we ended up winning the Big Ten, went to Sweet 16, which is the best the Gophers have ever done. I ended up getting mono twice that season, and like the worst ankle sprain. Somehow still played. I wasn't able to give 90 minutes, but I was able to give what I could in those games, maybe just the first half, sub in and out. But when you're injured, you just don't feel as much a part of the team, because you're rehabbing, you're not in the training sessions every day, so you don't feel like you're giving as much to the team. But that's when also your teammates pull you up. So I thought that was great. What other challenge? I'll do one more challenge. It was one of my favorite memories. I was playing pro in Germany at Bayer Leverkusen, and I was brought in. We were in the top league in Bundesliga, but my team was on the bottom, and there's a chance they're gonna get relegated. So for the younger ones, that means if you're in the bottom 2 teams of the season at the end of the season, you move down to the next lower division. So they brought me in pretty much to keep them in the top league, and it was one of our last games. We needed to win. If we got 3 points and got the win, we would stay in the top league. Came into a penalty with 10 seconds left. I took that. Like 3 German girls started like yelling at me from the other team and swearing at me. And, I don't like to give faces. I didn't want them to know if they're in my head or not. So just, kept my head down, did my routine and made that and kept in the top league. So, pressure situation, but I love those situations. So I thought that was a good challenge. At what point in your college career did you know you could go pro someday? So I think it was before college. I was actually committed to go Northwestern for soccer. They got a coach change. I just didn't feel like they were going to turn the program around. I believed in the coaches at the time. It was Mickey, Denny Wright. Those coaches that they were going to turn the program around, and I wanted to be part of something special. But also, I wanted to see how far I can go in soccer, and I knew I needed to be on a team that was going to do well as a team, and a place that I could see myself thriving individually, because stats are part of it, and doing well individually, but more importantly, the team. The team has to do well before anything. I believed in Minnesota Gophers. And so I think it was after my freshman season, I just, I claimed the starting spot. I started every game, and just seeing myself in the Big Ten, which is one of the best conferences for women's soccer in the country, and just seeing that I could hang with those players, even ones like when you're a freshman, there are girls 4 years older than you and bigger than you, and I was tiny. And so for me to be able to play and hold my own with women 4 years older, I'm like, okay, like, I believe that I can go on from this. And then it was just, I put that goal on paper with our team goals to my coach, and I would work individually with the coaches just to try to improve. Cause I asked point blank, I'm like, what can I do better? Like, I want to go pro, like, what do I need to do? So I'd practice that stuff in the off season. And then by junior year, when I made the youth national team, I think that's kind of what kind of skyrocketed it in terms of the looks, whether it's fair or not. When you have that on your resume, I think it just, pro teams will just assume you're at a certain level. And so I got a good amount of offers after my senior year then because of that. So I think, I mean, as a little girl, you always want to play pro, but it really hit me once I made, I think, the youth national team that like, okay, this is a possibility. Let's see, did you ever get really injured playing soccer? So I think luckily I'd never tore my ACL, which especially for women is, you know, the big one. The big injury I did have was I tore a part of my patella, which is in the knee, when I was playing pro in Norway. And unfortunately, social health care, MRIs is not the best. So just the scans, the doctors just kind of said, you're fine. And I played on it. And then when I went back to the US, I found out like pretty good tear. But, you know, I was like, I'll do anything it takes to get back to 100%. And so, you know, just my working out and like concentrating more on my core and my mobility, and like, you know, band work before training, cooling down better after training, my patella ended up growing back. So just learning more about my body, you know, like actually helped me become a better player afterwards. But luckily it never kept me out from playing games. I probably should have sat out. But yeah, that one was pretty scary. Anything with the knee, you know, is scary. But besides that, it wasn't too, I mean, I broke my nose like 6 times, which you can probably see on the video. So I can't really smell. My first time was playing St. Croix club, and I broke it. I came down, I thought I broke it, but it wasn't all bloody. Sorry for the details. So I ran to the coach. I'm like, Coach, Tim Magnuson, I don't know if he's still coaching at St. Croix. I ran to the coach, I'm like, Coach, I think my nose is broken. He looks at me, he's like, no, you're fine. And then after the game, I look in the mirror, I'm like, this thing is broken. So I have surgery on it the first time. But yeah, besides that, pretty good. But yeah, thanks, Tim. Let's see, how did you balance school and playing college soccer? So, I mean, if y'all are in school right now, same thing. It's all about priorities. Even in college, it's student athlete. So student first. So I think you will have enough time for everything, for school and for your sport. It's the socializing and the extra time that you're honestly gonna have to put as your third priority. School's first. You'll never have to miss class really for soccer. And if you do, you have tutors and you have academic advisors that you can make up the exam on the road. A lot of my professors in school actually let me take the exam before or after the class I was going to miss. So they're very helpful in school that way, but it's all about priorities. And I think, especially in high school, like you don't need to know exactly what you want to do, but like take some tests online or like start Googling what you might be interested in, or have conversations with your family about like areas of interest. Because I think going into college, even if you change your major, just kind of having that end goal of like what you want to do, I think kind of brings you back to reality of you can't play professional sports forever. You will have to move on to a different career eventually. And if you set yourself up with a good undergrad degree, that will help you. Because whenever you retire from soccer, especially the women, you're not going to make millions of dollars in soccer. You're going to have to come back and do something else. And for me, like I just finished up law school a couple days ago. So I'll start as a lawyer in Chicago come October this year. But just, I think if you have clear goals, just like soccer, if you have clear goals, you're just going to be able to stay on the straight and narrow. So prioritize school and soccer, and then just put some goals out there for yourself. And if you're not liking your major, you can have conversations with your academic advisor and your family about it. But I think, you know, the socializing comes third. Let's see, how many goals? Sorry, there's a lot more questions. What did you like most about soccer? I mean, I'm super competitive, so winning. I don't care if it's training one-on-one in practice or in a game. Like, I don't like to lose at anything or Monopoly. I love winning. I won't cheat, but I love winning. But besides that, off the field, just the relationships. Like, I still keep in contact with like my club soccer friends, you know, college, pro. Like, you go through so much, whether it's the training, the conditioning, great coaches you've had, bad coaches you've had, you all do it together. And so you just bond so much, and the away trips and the hotels, when you're in the pool longer than what your parents want you to or your coaches want you to, the slumber parties, it's all that. How many goals did you score? So the most I had in a season was in high school. I had 56 in, I forgot what year it was, maybe junior year. 56 goals and like 40 something assists. So I think that was the state record. Tim would never mislead anyone. Okay. Let's see, as you get older, how important is diet, nutrition to perform at a very high level? So I think we have a lot more information and data online and through articles than what I had growing up. When you're younger, even through high school, everything in moderation. Don't eat McDonald's 7 times a week. But you all are also running around all day, every day. So like eat well, because that's what's going to fuel you for games. Eating, your proteins and your carbs and your vegetables and everything like that on a daily basis, that's what you should be doing. And especially when it gets into really hot weather, is like you need every bit of nutrition and the water and electrolytes you're putting in your body during those super hot games in the summer. And so, if you're not putting the right food in, you're going to feel it, especially as you get older. And I think just creating good habits when you're younger, because it gets harder with age to try to like turn those into good, healthy habits. But for me, I didn't get really into it until I was in college, because we had a nutritionalist, and then, they're explaining like how much better you can be in a game if you're hydrated. And they had all these stats and graphs, and I'm just like, that's in my control. I can keep my water bottle just next to me. I bought my favorite water bottle and just bring it around with me everywhere, and just, I could feel a difference within a few weeks, just have so much more energy, drinking enough water. And I wanted to, when I got to college, I decided, I'm like, I want to walk away from this game, whether it's after college or pro, and say, I did everything possible to be the best player I could. And so that was my mentality, like training when I was younger, is every training session, I'm going to walk off the field knowing I put 100% in the training, because if I did that, I would have gotten better. If I did everything in a game, walked off, I couldn't do anything better, then that's all I could do. I improved. And I wanted to do the same thing off the field. So that was, when I'm in the gym, like whether it's mobility, stretching after practice instead of running home right away. It's taking enough water every single day, not just the day before games, the day of games. Am I eating properly? If what I'm eating 90% of the time is healthy, of course I'm going to enjoy chocolate cake, and I love my froyo. I get so many toppings, which is like, yeah, I deserve it. I work hard every day training. I eat right most of the time. One bad meal, bad dessert every now and then is not going to hurt you, but just one good, healthy chicken meal is not going to help you either. So it's about your daily habit. On the field, off the field, just say, did I do everything I could to be the best I could that day? That's just kind of how I've lived my life. And once I got to college, I took nutrition and drinking the right fluids as well into that.